So first I'm looking at the top view, that's the part where it's sticking straight out. And I'm going to draw the first square. I did 2 by 2 instead of 1 by 1. You can do 1 by 1 if you prefer.
I don't think they can see the square.
Yep, they can. They can see this and they can see this. Because I shared my whole screen. See?
Oh.
Next, I'm going to do the 2 squares that are next to each other, right here. Because they are on the same level, meaning they are next to each other and one is not popping up or sinking back, I'm going to draw them without a line down the middle, just like this. When we are drawing these kind of shapes, lines have meaning. It means different heights. So because these aren't at different heights, I drew them next to each other. Go ahead and you draw them next to each other as well. So your screen should look like mine. That is the top. Next, I'm going to rotate it. So now I'm looking at the front. This is the front. Okay. How many squares are next to each other right here in the front? 2. So I'm going to draw the 2 squares next to each other. Unfortunately, you can only erase everything. You can press Control Z to undo if it was the last step. Control Z will undo. So there's also an undo button, yes. So 1, 2 squares high, 2 squares over. Do you see how I kind of lined it up with the shape right above it? You want to line it up like that because that way an engineer will know that these sides correspond. Okay. So from this to this view. Next, I'm going to draw the squares underneath here. They are how many squares next to each other that are the same level? Yes?
2.
So go ahead and make those 2 squares. And I'm going to show you something really cool as you guys are drawing that. I'm going to make some dotted lines here. I'm so fancy with these dotted lines. Oh my gosh, so fancy. I'm just making some dotted lines here.
Do you want us to do that?
Yes, you may also make some dotted lines.
May or should?
You do not have to. You can just look at mine. That's okay too. But if you'd like to make the dotted lines, you can. If you think it'll help you, you can. Real engineers would make the dotted lines. So if you want to feel like a real engineer, make the dotted line. Do you see how everything lines up so well? That is exactly what it is supposed to do. So now when I do the right side, I rotate it facing this way towards you. We're going to line these bits up as well. I'm going to draw this one square that's kind of jutting out towards me first. So I'm going to make sure I'm in line here. I'm going to draw it over in this corner. So here is my one square that's kind of jutting out towards me.
How do you erase something like that?
Control Z or the undo button will erase the last line that you drew. So you can go back that way, but there's no eraser. Only the undo button.
Or erase everything.
Or erase everything if you really, really messed up, which I've done before. Okay, how many squares are in a row right next to it? How many should I draw over here?
3.
3. Should I draw any lines in between them? No. Why not?
Because they're on the same level.
They're on the same level. Lines have meaning, and the meaning is that they're different levels. So if it's not different levels, there's not different lines. Now I'm going to draw those magic dotted lines going this way too, so you guys can see that really cool effect where everything ends up lining up. I think it's pretty cool to see that. Oops, I guess I don't really need to do all of those. I'll start here then. I see I have 30 seconds left on screen Catify. No pressure, right? Whew. So I'm just drawing in those dotted lines so you can see the different parts that connect, which is pretty cool stuff. Feel free to draw in those dotted lines if you would like to.